in a town, say like Flint, Michigan, the town that was the birthplace of the middle class, because it was the first place that a union got a contract with an industrial corporation, the UAW. It was their first big contract back in the 30s. My uncle was in that sit-down strike. They took over the factories for 44 days. They would not leave. General Motors turned off the heat. This went from New Year's Eve to February 11th. They turned off the heat. They turned off the water. They wouldn't let any food be brought in until the women of Flint decided to arm themselves with baseball bats and went down to the factories and broke all the windows just so they could throw food in to their husbands and their sons and their brothers. It was the women who helped win that, and it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt who finally called up the governor of Michigan and said, you are to tell the National Guard to take their guns that are pointed at the workers and their families, turn the guns away from them, and point them to the Pinkerton agents and to the police who are beating these women who are trying to bring food to the factory workers. And once Roosevelt got in, our first Democratic Socialist president, because all those words mean, as we know, democratic means democracy. We believe in democracy, and we, Bernie, myself, you, believe it's not a true democracy if it's just about us getting to vote at election time. The economy also has to be democratic. We have to have a say in our own economy. And the pie has to be split fairly so that everybody gets a slice. Everybody has a seat at the table. That's what that is. People say, well, I don't understand. What's this democratic social? I'll tell you what it is. It's the rich man will have a harder time getting into heaven than a camel will have trying to pass through the eye of the needle. It's the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. It's if we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, how are we going to feed the 5,000 people here for the sermon? And he just says, well, just start doing it and there'll be enough, but make sure everybody gets something. Make sure everybody gets something, not just the people who own the fish or the loaves of bread, but everybody gets a piece of the food, and everybody was fed. It really is just the tradition of the way I was raised, the way you were raised, to do unto others as you would hope they would do unto you. And we now live in such a dark and dangerous time. We have a president who's so appalling in his treatment of other people, in even his own people. And today, watching the trial in the Senate, and the Republicans, my grandfather was the leader of the Republican Party in the town that I grew up in. But I remember him explaining that the idea of being a conservative, to conserve, meant conserve your money. Don't spend money you don't have. Conserve the earth that God gave us, these natural resources, conservation. That's what conservative meant. Be good to each other. Be kind. Oh, if he were alive today. The fact that not only that the Republican senators still enable this person who thought about himself before his country, that there are Republican senators in there today
corrupt,
whom he called losers when they ran against him. Loser, you're slow. One of them, who's voting to enable him today, Trump accused his father of having something to do with the Kennedy assassination. And yet there he is, right up there. But that's the way it's been since we were all in middle school. The way the bully operates is to make everyone else afraid.
It's bully
to get
politics.
people to come to large rallies and to stoke their fear of the other. This is our real challenge in November, to show who we are as a people.
Yeah, well, shut
Who
down
are
Fox
we?
News first.
and to stop these forms of economic terrorism that destroy rural Iowa, that destroy Flint, Michigan, it's a nonstop. The majority of Americans now, did you read this story this past year? Do not have enough money available to them, do not have enough cash on hand, that if a loved one tonight across the country passed away, they don't have the money to fly and go to the funeral. $500. Majority of Americans don't have $500 to their name. And none of that has changed under Trump.
Because the 0.001%
Because he has
all the
only
money.
one belief. And that belief is not in the Republican Party, not in the United States of America. His belief is in Donald J. Trump. What's good for Trump?
He's a traitor.
But I want to tell you why I'm here for Bernie. We have such a unique opportunity here to elect someone who's not part of that system. Not the same old, not the candidate who's safe.
The DNC candidate.
That commercial that we're seeing this weekend here in Iowa, vote for me, I'm the safe candidate. Wow, that's how low the bar is now. Oh, you got to be a safe. I can't imagine if you go on, like, if you're single and you go on Match.com and you were reading the profile, and the guy said, "Go out with me, I'm safe." You'd be like, "Wow, I don't think so. I'm safe." We were told to vote safe in 1984, and we lost.
Safer
We were
without
told to
him.
vote for the safe, bland candidate in 1988, and we lost.
We're safer without a president.
We were told to play it safe in 2000. We won, but we lost. That's what we're great at, too, our side. We win the election, and we aren't not given the keys to the White House. We have more people wanting us than the other side, and yet we don't get to enter the Oval Office.
We'd be safer if the whole executive were
And now,
prisoned.
today, I don't know if you've seen the news today. I'm so upset in the car driving here to Creston today. And by the way, thank you for having us. Thank you to Southwestern Community College for having us here. So a beautiful campus and school here. We're happy to be here. We always look up on Wikipedia the town we're going to see, what they're famous for. You've got it out there right on the sign coming into town. The Pee Wee League Championship from 1967. I just want to ask, what's happened since 1967? May I suggest maybe letting the girls play? No, but this is also the hometown of Walter Cunningham, the astronaut on Apollo 7. Just before, as we were on our way to going to the moon. He was from here. That's pretty cool. You also have the largest True Value hardware store I've seen anywhere in Iowa. I don't know why that is, but no, we thank you for having us here. But on the way here, the story came on radio that the Democratic National Party has decided to suspend their rules on you have to have so many donors to show you have wide support. Bernie has more donors than any candidate running this year. More donors, donating more money, and yet donating the smallest amount of money, $18 a donor. But they have that rule there because, if you didn't like 27 people on the stage, there'd be 327 on the stage. So they have to have some rules. So one of the rules they set up was to make sure that let's make sure that there's enough people that support this individual. And one way to do that is if they're willing to give $5 or $10, well, if there's enough of them, they removed that rule today.
We'll take all money out of politics.
So that they could allow Michael Bloomberg to be on the stage, to allow a billionaire who was elected the Republican mayor of New York City in 2001. They did this just for him. He doesn't have to prove that he has any support amongst people who would be willing to give him money because, of course, he's just using his own money. That he can actually buy his way onto the stage. I'd like to hear full transparency from the DNC and tell us how much he has offered to give in the November election if they let him on the stage. And I'm not going to dwell on this, but I just think this is
No,
what we're
let's
so used to
set
on
up
our
a
side.
FOIA.
Where people that are supposed to be on our side end up being for the people with the
Billionaire
money.
class.
How many times have we seen when our candidate, the Democratic candidate, the number one contributor was Goldman Sachs? Enough of this, folks. This is why we lose. Even when
This
we
is
win,
why
we
we're
lose.
stuck with a dictator, fascist, neo-Nazi.
It doesn't work
supporter.
this way. And we have to say that this is wrong. We have no people of color left on the debate stage. They didn't change the rules so that Cory Booker could stay on the stage or Julian Castro could stay on the stage. They made no provisions for that. But for the
They
white
want the status
billionaire,
quo. They want more corruption.
we can just
Perpetual
dispense with the
corruption.
rules. And this is what all of us have had to deal with our whole lives. There's one set of rules for us, and there's one set of rules for the rich. We have one candidate who will not tolerate this, who will not put up with this, who will speak out against it, and he will fight for us.
And public
all of us.
financing of campaigns. No more contributions.
It boggles the mind. But I want to
Indict
focus
the
on.
DNC chair.
We're in the final days here in Iowa, and
Sue the DNC.
we have somebody. Oh, this is this is one of the reasons they changed the rules. You know why they changed it. Bernie is ahead
Discrimination.
in all the polls now. He's ahead. He's ahead in Iowa. He's ahead in New Hampshire. He's number one in the poll today from California.
Yeah.
In the poll from
It's
Texas
gonna be a
yesterday,
landslide.
of all the Democrats running, the one that does the best against Trump in Texas is Bernie Sanders.
Haha.
Or the story that came out this morning that the candidate who has received the most donations from members who are active duty military, our sailors and soldiers and airmen and women, the number one candidate with the most number of donations from our military soldiers is Bernie Sanders. I read that.